Hey, it's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Sunday, May 15th. So the moon is in Scorpio all day. Of course, we are building towards the full moon total lunar eclipse in Scorpio later on today for some people in the world, and very early on in the wee hours of tomorrow morning for the rest of the world. Either way, this is a highly intense day, a very emotional time, hella chaotic in our mental plane, and with 15 different aspects taking place today and 11 of them involving this moon in Scorpio, you best believe we are going to feel the pressure. And if you haven't listened to this week's Ascension forecast, you should probably do that. We kind of explored how this particular energy is almost like a bubbling volcano, getting very much prepared to erupt. Of course, the full moon is all about release, all about endings and closures. And in the Scorpio energy, we're doing a deep dive into our shadow, into our psyche, into our past, our pain, our trauma, in order for us to find our power. If you haven't listened to the full moon forecast that I put out, I'm going to recommend you do that as well. We do a deep dive into all things covered under this eclipse energy. Of course, we have the sun still in Taurus, definitely showing us what it is new. Foundations, routines, self-love, worth, values, relationships, money matters, goals, dreams that we should be focused on building. But of course, we have to make way for those new elements to actually have a space to be born into. Very much surrendering, letting go, creating a death and ending, a closure to certain elements in our lives that, of course, the Scorpio energy rules over. So we are very, very pressurized in this system right now. Of course, Mercury's retrograde, Pluto, the ruler of Scorpio, is retrograde as well. This is a very intense time. This is also a super blood moon preparing us for a fresh, clean slate to work with after this eclipse portal actually closes. So we got a lot going on here today. And right out of the gate, we have the moon in Scorpio making a not very nice aspect with both Venus and Chiron. Venus, of course, is the goddess of love and beauty and pleasure and worth, really focused on relationships and systems and structures where our physical circumstances are concerned. Venus rules over Taurus season, and Venus right now is in Aries energy, fired up, ready to go, ready to push past the challenges, the obstacles of her past, really kind of ready to fight for what it is that she wants, she deserves, she desires. She's tired for settling. She is tired of letting other people have power over her. And of course, the moon in Scorpio doing a deep dive, trying to illuminate the shadow parts within ourselves. This is definitely going to activate and trigger a lot of aggression, a lot of emotion, especially in our personal relationships. Now, the way that the moon is interacting with Venus and Chiron means that it's likely going to be an outside trigger, an outside activation, a situation popping off in a very close relationship dynamic of ours that will show us where the wounds are alive and well. Chiron, of course, the wounded healer, trying to show us where it is that we've accumulated wounds, especially in our ego, our identity, being too overly attached to people, places, and things. And because this situation is likely an outside activation and a trigger, this is likely going to show us big time where it is that we're taking a couple of blows to our ego, to our identity, to our heart chakra. The moon is going to sit across from Uranus, the great awakener, who is in Taurus energy. Of course, Scorpio and Taurus sit across from each other in the zodiac wheel. That's why we're having this full moon event in the signs that we're having it in. And at this particular point, we are definitely at odds with what it is that we are just done with, okay? As far as our emotional wants, needs, and desires go, we're confused, especially after this earlier situation popped off in a very close relationship dynamic. Now we're recognizing where it is that we need to be free where it is we need to be a little bit more independent, where it is that we need to maybe rebel against certain people, certain topics, certain themes that are trying to keep us stuck in this present moment. Because of course, the name of the game right now is to delete, to remove, to release a lot of the elements in our lives that are just holding us back, just keeping us down, preventing us from actually moving forward. This Uranian energy, although is the great awakener and likes to provide us with a lot of clarity, in this particular aspect, the clarity is going to come from a state of confusion. This confusion is necessary. We are supposed to explode. We're supposed to get our thoughts and our feelings out of our body. This is what this whole volcanic type of analogy is all about. We've been bubbling under the surface, but now it's time to actually release a lot of these very detrimental, heavy, angry type of energies, get them out of our body in order for us to start fresh. This is the point in time where Venus is going to conjunct Chiron. We talked about this in the ascension forecast. This is a beautiful setup, a beautiful opportunity right before the full moon release reaches its potent peak of energy, where Venus bumps into the wounded healer. This is going to expose our wounds. This is also going to provide us a beautiful opportunity to figure out how it is that we're going to heal from these wounds, especially the triggers and the activations coming from our personal relationships. Again, we started off the day with the moon bumping into both Venus and Chiron, really showing us the shadow part of our relationship dynamics, having our wounds, our ego, our identity truly attacked, truly wounded. And this particular aspect, although is going to show our wounds alive and well, is also going to show us where the pressure, the intensity, the pain, the trauma, the suffering is forcing us into making some very dramatic and dynamic changes, not only within ourselves, but within our personal relationships. This is how we heal. The moon goes ahead and bumps into Jupiter in not the nicest way. Jupiter, of course, is magnifying the situation, magnifying the emotions, magnifying what's going on in our mental plane in order for us to see that this is an opportunity for us to grow, for us to improve. And Jupiter is fresh into Aries energy, so there's a spark there, there's a fire there, and this is a time for us to reinvent ourselves, to rebrand ourselves, to step up, face the challenges, the obstacles, and push past them because we are tired of settling. We are tired of really not getting what it is that we want. We are tired of not going after the things that really light us up, make us very passionate. And the moon bumping into Jupiter at this time is going to magnify the darkness within us, the shadow within us. Why? Because that is the only way that we change, is when we're in an uncomfortable situation, when we're tired of the pain, we're tired of the suffering, when we get so overwhelmed with thoughts and emotions that we can't keep them under the surface anymore, we got to let them out. And because Jupiter turns the volume up on whatever it is that's going on, and thus far the energy is building towards this, extreme explosion within us. In order for a transformation to take place, you best believe that this is going to get highly uncomfortable. The moon goes ahead and bumps into Pluto. Pluto rules over Scorpio energy. The ruler, one of the rulers, Pluto and Mars, both rule over Scorpio energy and are the rulers of this full moon total lunar eclipse event. And Pluto is the great transformer. He is retrograde right now in Capricorn, really taking us on an inner journey to review and reflect all the times in our life that we've given our power away, that we were under the influence of pain and suffering and even trauma from those that we had given our power away to. This is us recognizing our self-sabotaging behaviors, our self-destructive behaviors, the negative Nancy narrative that keeps us in a state of paralysis. And lucky for us, this is a positive aspect between the moon and Pluto, which means that we are looking at these obstacles, at these challenges, at these experiences that were painful, that are dark, that are pretty heavy. And we are now using alchemy, magic, transformation to turn that darkness into light, to turn that pain into power. We are going to use those tougher circumstances and past experiences, those memories, those thoughts, those feelings, those narratives, in order to inspire us and motivate us to make the changes that we know that we have to make so that we do not find ourselves repeating, again, retrograde, repeating those particular energy exchanges ever again. So this is around 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We go from 10 a.m. to about 3 p.m. with no aspects, no activity in the sky. Around 3, we have the sun squaring Saturn. This is not going to be fun. This is not a pleasant energy. We are under a full moon eclipse event. None of this is supposed to be light and fluffy. This is heavy. This is dark. This is weighted. This is painful. The sun in Taurus is trying to show us where it is that we have to boss up, where it is that we have to level up, where it is that we have to get to work building and creating and giving birth to new elements in our lives, new foundations in our lives, starting with routines in our day-to-day life to support our own health and wellness, to promote self-love, our relationships, making sure that we are aligned with like-minded people who are here for our best interest, for the skills, the talents, the resources that we've been sleeping on, that we could definitely bring forth, put in the spotlight in order to create more safety and security, especially where our income is concerned. But we're squaring off, boxing ring, tension, conflict with Saturn, the Lord of Karma. If you downloaded your moon guide, you would know that we have a lot of positive aspects taking place underneath this full moon event, but Saturn is squaring off with pretty much all of them. Now, Saturn, the Lord of Karma, ruling over roles and responsibilities, ruling over structures and foundations, is in Aquarius energy, trying to show us in a futuristic vision, in a futuristic dream, what it is that we want to be living so that we can break that down into manageable pieces and actually start getting to work doing what is necessary in the here and now to free ourselves from the restrictions, from where it is that we're feeling held back in our physical circumstances. The sun in Taurus is focused on our physical circumstances. And right now we are living in physical circumstances that are not in our alignment for our best self, for our soul's mission, for our soul's purpose. So the sun squaring off with Saturn in this way is really giving us a little bit of a bitch slap, a little bit of a dose of reality. We are getting a heavy reality check. Now, here's where Negative Nancy, Betty the Bully, all Debbie the Downer coming out to play. The mean girls are essentially coming out to play. Why? Because we're scared. That's a part of the shadow element that we should be exploring under this full moon in Scorpio. We're scared to change. We're scared to transform. Who are we if we let go of the storylines of pain and suffering that we have literally built our identities off of? Who are we if we let go of the relationship that we've poured into for the last year, 5 years, 10 years? Regardless, we have attachments. The sun in Taurus is our physical attachments and our physical circumstances that we have grown too intertwined with, that we've built our physical identity out of. That if they were stripped away, if they were taken away from whatever means in our life, who would you be? This is the mystical power of the Scorpio energy trying to show you that you are more than just your physical circumstances. You are more than your job, your relationship, your possessions. And because we're in eclipse energy, because the universe is kind of, the wild card energy sorting us out where we failed to sort ourselves out, we might just find ourselves being stripped of certain possessions, certain titles, certain careers, certain money, certain relationships. In order for us to find our true strength, our true power, which is not in this physical realm. It's in the transformative energies of our soul, of our spirit. It's stripping away and unlearning all of the things that we thought we knew. It is redefining who it is that we are outside of the physical construct that our egos have built for us. So the sun squaring off in Saturn in this way is likely going to trigger a lot of heaviness, a lot of weight, where it is that we're suffocating under commitments, under relationships, roles, and responsibilities, and where we need to get a grip and understand why we need to feel this uncomfortability, this pain, this trauma, this suffering, this torture, in order for us to boss up and make the change, the transformation that we know we need to make in order to free ourselves from these physical circumstances. Now, the sun is going to go ahead right after and sextile Neptune. Thank goodness for this. Neptune, of course, is in Pisces energy in its place of power, ruling over our higher self, our soul contracts, our dreams, our creative endeavors. This is probably the first time in a long time that we are going to feel drawn back into the mystical land of our higher self, of the divine intelligence. This whole eclipse portal has blocked us from the higher realms. That's why we haven't been able to really rely on intuition or guidance or vision or dreams from the highest realms, because we've been blocked from that. Why? Because we have to feel the heaviness and the weight of our physical circumstances so that we know what it is we are no longer willing to tolerate, what it is we're no longer willing to bear on our shoulders, on our heart space, on our karma. It's time to switch things up. So the sun and Neptune are coming together in this beautiful way, giving us a little bit of a glimpse on what it is that we need to pour our time, energy into here in this physical realm to make the changes that we now feel in our gut for sure that we have to make if we're going to align with our intuition, with our dreams, with our vision, with the pursuit of happiness that our higher self now wants us to pursue. The moon is going to bump into Chiron. This is a positive aspect. This means that through that very difficult morning, through the pressure building, through the little bit of a glimpse from our higher self, we gained some insight. Chiron, being the wounded healer in this particular aspect, is showing us through insight, through a gut reaction, through our heart space, what it is that we have to focus on healing first and foremost. The moon in Scorpio, deeply transformative. The minute that something clicks, that we have an aha moment, a revelation, a change in perspective or perception or understanding, is the minute that our whole vibe alters. We shift our paradigm, and that old perception, that old understanding, that old belief system, the old collapses. And right now, collectively, we are collapsing the old, heavier, unconscious shadow work of a timeline that we have been stuck in. That's why there's been this great awakening. That's why there's been this reveal of the pain and the suffering and the corruption in this world. Collectively, this is what we're going through. And individually, we're going through this in our own lives because you are the pebble that gets thrown in the ocean that has a ripple effect to cause that ripple effect to go outward, right? It all starts with us. That's why I say, when you are happy, the world around you is happy. When your vibration, your frequency is high, the world around you gets better. This is a very reciprocatory relationship. Our individual energy with the collective energy. And right now, we are having huge insight, huge perspective shifts on what it is that we're healing within ourselves. And when we heal elements within ourselves, we heal the generational trauma that we came from, and we are essentially healing the collective because we're all intertwined. The moon goes ahead and bumps into Venus. As you know, earlier in the day, the moon had a not so nice interaction with Venus, with Chiron, and then Venus and Chiron got together and exposed some relationship wounds and gave us an opportunity to heal the relationships that we deemed to be of worth and value. And now the moon goes ahead, bumps into Chiron, so we're healing a certain wound, especially where our ego and our identity is concerned. And now the moon goes ahead and bumps into Venus, giving us a lot of clarity on what it is that we need to do in order to feel emotionally safe and secure, emotionally stable, emotionally satisfied, especially within the relationships that have been popping off. And again, we're in eclipse energy. Some might need to be shown the door. Okay. That's just a matter of fact. If you're in a low vibrational frequency relationship, you're trying to grow and your partner is trying to keep you in a state of paralysis and a lower vibrational reality, they gots to go. If they're not going to grow, then they gots to go. At this particular point in time, we have the moon opposite, but also conjunct with the true node. So how does that work? Well, the true node is the reason why we're having this eclipse. So we have a true node, the north node, in Taurus. That's what our soul's path, our destiny is trying to create, trying to build, trying to bring into our realities. While the South Node is in Scorpio. The South Node is where it is that we've come from and what it is that we have to let go and surrender to in order to actually embrace the elements of the North Node in Taurus. So the moon in Scorpio is sitting across from the North Node in Taurus, along with the sun, and sitting next to the South Node in Scorpio. This is where the releasing energies begin. This is 7:42 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. When the moon is conjunct and opposing both nodes, this is when the energy reaches its volcanic eruption beginning. This isn't a bad thing. This is when we realize what it is that we got to let go of in order to have the space to create better elements in. The moon goes ahead and trines Mars. Mars is also the co-ruler over this full moon event. Mars rules over our physical energy, our passion, our drive, our aggression, if need be, and is in Pisces energy, endings, closures, in order for the new soul contracts to begin, where healing and transformation takes place in our lineage, in our present moment, to set us up for a beautiful alignment with the people, with the things that our soul's purpose and our soul's mission is here to actually pursue. This is a huge motivation in the right direction. This is a huge inspiration on what it is that we're going to be working towards. This is a new realization of passions and desires. And you know what? If you have to use anger to get you there, to make the change, to push you away from where it is that you need to break free into a realm of pursuit, moving closer to the things that you need to be in alignment with, then so be it. Venus is going to go ahead and bump into Uranus. This is likely going to create a lot of chaos, a lot of confusion, but we're at the peak. We're building towards the peak. You have to expect that there's going to be a certain amount of confusion. We are likely going to feel hella chaotic within ourselves, especially when it comes to our emotional wants, needs, and desires and the status of our physical circumstances and the relationships in it. Venus, the goddess of love and beauty and worth and pleasure and joy and happiness, just wants to start fresh. She's in Aries energy. We don't want to look back. We don't want to review. But unfortunately, we have a retrograde and we have to look back in order to identify what it is that we need to let go of so that we can go after and pursue the new passions, the new desires that we know are going to make us feel emotionally safe and secure, especially compared to the situations that we now know we do not feel those things in. The moon goes ahead and squares Saturn. A square is a tension point. I want you to think about a boxing ring. It is a conflict. And right now we're at a conflict because the transformation that is currently taking place within our energy, within our heart space, within our psyche, within our soul contracts, within our timelines, isn't happening fast enough for our egoic selves. So this creates a little bit of pressure, a little bit of tension. It's almost like, yes, I want to move forward. I'm going to make the changes. I'm ready. I'm a warrior. I'm moving ahead. And then all of a sudden we get scared. Oh my goodness, it's not happening fast enough. Look at all the steps that I'm going to need to take to actually get to my end goal. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this at all. Maybe I should just get comfortable being uncomfortable. No, Saturn is the Lord of karma. He's showing you where it is through uncomfortability that you have played your part, that your role is done, that certain roles and responsibilities that are sucking the life out of you and weighing on your shoulders and breaking your heart and busting your mind need to go. You need to free yourself from that. Saturn likes to throw tough love life lessons at us. And that is not something that Scorpio energy shies away from. Scorpio energy is the alchemist. We do the deep dive. We destroy ourselves just to be reborn again. That's what the Phoenix is all about. And the moon popping off with Saturn right now is definitely going to illuminate the darkest parts within us, because we have to face our shadow selves and bring them into consciousness before we can process that, integrate that, befriend it, and move forward. Lastly, at 11:41 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have the moon trining with Neptune. This is a beautiful, powerful energy, but Neptune is water. In Pisces, water. Full moon, water. Scorpio, water. We have a lot of feelings. We have a lot of emotions. We have a lot of transformations. We have a lot of cleansing to do. Now, at this particular point, especially after this little conflict with Saturn, we're in alignment with our higher selves again. We're listening to our intuition. It's coming in strong. Essentially, that Saturn energy, negative Nancy, Debbie the Downer, Betty the Bully, that is our egoic selves trying to keep us in a state of paralysis so that we do not push forward, we do not enlighten, we do not evolve. The moon bumping into Neptune in this way reminds us that our physical circumstances, our physical experiences do not dictate who it is that we are and what is possible for us in our future. It is the push, it is the gut reaction, the motivation, the inspiration, the catalyst that we need to stay positive, to stay firm, to rise above the physical egoic circumstances and narratives that are trying to hold us back and down. We have to rise above. We have to raise our vibration and frequency, because I'm going to tell you, it's just a matter of minutes at this point before the full moon lunar eclipse is direct in its potency. So yeah, tough day, very emotional day, very transformative day. You need to release the thoughts, the energy, the emotions that come bubbling up inside of you. As long as you are speaking from your truth, from your place of power, it does not matter how other people receive your truth. It is going to be a pressure-filled, very intense day. Again, I am going to highly recommend that you listen to the full moon astro forecast that I put out and that you download the moon guide. This will assist you in navigating the shadow work that needs to be acknowledged before we have this beautiful clean slate that we will have after this eclipse portal closes.